I knew full well that when I released the Ruben Amorim video this morning, it was going to become old very, very quickly because the news is moving so fast. In many respects, not an awful lot's changed from what I said yesterday, which is I would expect Fonseca or Lopetegui to get the West Ham job. That bit hasn't changed. But there is no doubt that we did fly Amorim over for talks yesterday, that we made him a job offer, and it was a compelling job offer. He got back on his jet and he flew back to Lisbon, and that's where he is. And the most recent reports are, as of sort of today at 4 o'clock in the afternoon, that he's rejected the chance to join West Ham. But it's not dead yet, by the way. So it's TalkSport who basically broke the news that he'd turned it down. Now, TalkSport are normally not a bad source of information, bearing in mind it's Jim White that was breaking it. As we know, he's got quite close contacts to David Sullivan. Now, I don't know if David Sullivan's leaked this news or not. I don't know. He seemed to have spent the past 24 hours, Sullivan, leaking the news that actually David Moyes was possibly not going to get sacked, was possibly going to sit down with the board at the end of the season, and they would look at the list that Steidten has done. That's the news that was getting leaked from the board yesterday. Far from it being this Amorim stuff selling season tickets, I actually thought that the board were probably making people less likely to buy season tickets by repeatedly saying, well, hold on, David Moyes, we're going to sit down with David Moyes, he's going to be here until the end of the season. Anyway, whilst they were doing that, actually clearly something else was happening, and that was they were flying Ruben Amorim over. Now, the latest rumours are on the package he was offered by Tim Steidten that he was offered pretty much licence to build the club in his image. As we've mentioned numerous times before, you've got the whole head coach thing going on now. It's a version of the job that David Moyes does not like. He likes the all-powerful, omnipotent football manager who runs every facet of the club. I'm not sure they were offering Amorim that, but they were basically saying, look, whatever the composition of the squad is, we'll help you do it. We'll help you do that. Apparently, they gave him more money than Liverpool were prepared to give him. Now, here's where it becomes a little bit funny here, because I'm not entirely... I think he has let it be known to his agents and his sources that he's rejected West Ham's contract. And I do believe that the stories yesterday were actually that he was flying over were leaked from his end. If not possibly Tim Steidten, I don't know, but more likely his end. I think the whole thing, rather than being a ruse to sell season tickets, it's actually been a ruse to flush out Liverpool's interest. I'm not entirely sure how much he really wanted to join West Ham, truth be known. I think it's probably more likely that was the scenario. And maybe, just maybe, they gave us a glimmer of hope that possibly West Ham would be able to sign one of the best young coaches in European football. That's what he is. I wonder if he's just flushing out Liverpool's interest, and by him saying, well, the package that West Ham are offering me is more than Liverpool have offered me. But I'm also not entirely sure that Liverpool have made an offer, you know. I just don't know. It doesn't bode particularly well for West Ham in terms of Amorim, because it does seem as if he's going to wait for a Liverpool offer. That doesn't mean he won't join West Ham at all. I do think that actually if Liverpool don't bid for him, then he's got a choice of staying at Sporting Lisbon or coming to West Ham. I do think that West Ham is a relatively attractive offer for him. Not ahead of Liverpool, he'd prefer to go to Liverpool. That much is clear. But I'm not sure. If an offer doesn't come in, then he may well turn around and say to West Ham, actually, can we revisit that offer? I think it's really important that we don't wait around for that, because we need to make sure that we safeguard ourselves for next season. And as my understanding is that there was a number of young coaches on the list, 2 or 3 young coaches on the list. If it doesn't get down and none of those accept, that's Tim Steidten's list, then we get on to maybe David Sullivan's list. Now, we'll get on to Lopetegui in a second. Fonseca is the interesting one, really. There are agents basically forcing their client, in terms of Fonseca, onto West Ham. They've been quite wowed by his CV, as I understand it. That was earlier on in the season. I do believe there's been a bit of reality check, and he is not first choice, and nor is Lopetegui. But just because they're not first choice doesn't mean that we won't get them at all. He's out of contract at Lille, end of the season. Of course, they just went out, didn't they? They just went out to Aston Villa, out of the Conference League as well. As I mentioned in yesterday's video, I do think both Lopetegui and Fonseca would play better football than David Moyes. But I think Fonseca would probably play a far more attacking brand than David Moyes. Lopetegui, you'd see it would be incrementally a little bit better. I won't say too much more about his style of play because Gio will be dropping a video later on exactly that subject. What I will tell you is, though, that he has already done his due diligence on West Ham. I mean, he knows exactly what he would do. It's actually, believe it or not, as I understand it, Lopetegui made the presentation to West Ham. Yesterday, it was West Ham making a presentation to Ruben Amorim. Complicated, yep. Confused, yep. We all are, aren't we? Before I tell you what the structure of that deal might be, can I please point you in the direction of today's video sponsor, which is Manscaped. We're giving you 20% off of all Manscaped products. When you choose a Manscaped product and you put it in your basket, right at the end by the checkout, there's a discount code. You put in HammersChat20, all one word, and you get the discount. Why should you buy Manscaped products? I'll tell you why, because they are the best. Their flagship trimmer, beard trimmer if you want, but it's actually just not a beard trimmer, it's more of a pube trimmer, quite frankly, is this. It's the Lawnmower 5.0. It is an absolutely wonderful bit of kit. It works, it's waterproof, it works in the shower, it's got a torch on it just in case you don't have a light in your bathroom. I'm sure most of you do actually. This is a really, really neat bit of kit, and what it's got ceramic blades rather than metal blades. That's really important because it doesn't nick and bite your skin, and basically it doesn't hurt like a normal razor would if you're going to use it down below in the nether regions. What I really, really like about this particular lawnmower, I can't even say it, lawnmower. So I almost went Geordie then. This Lawnmower 5.0. You see this head here, this detachable head, and we all like a nice bit of head, don't we? That comes off there. And then you get this bit, this nice fancy funky bit, which you use to basically do the closer shave bit. It pops on and that's it. It's as simple as that. I mean, it honestly couldn't be easier. If I can do it, any of you can do it. Absolutely amazing. Lovely, lovely bit of kit. All their stuff is good. My personal favourite is the beard trimmer. I find out I'm going to use it later on because I need a little trim up. Upstairs, not downstairs. Thank you very much. All their products are magnificent. Check them out. The link's in the description below. That's Manscaped. You want a discount, 20% off plus shipping. It basically means postage. HammersChat20, all one word. Go and check it out. Right, so the Lopetegui thing. What, as I understand it, he liked his time at Wolves, but he couldn't agree. He couldn't make an agreement to stay with them. Obviously, he's won trophies at Sevilla. He was Real Madrid coach, albeit for not very long. I think he's managed Spain as well. He came in at Wolverhampton Wanderers. He kept them up. I think when he arrived there in the relegation zone, he kept them up. The football wasn't sparkling, but that's possibly not that reflective of his whole career. I'm not saying he's a super attacking coach, but you'd see a lot more innovation than you would do under David Moyes. You're certainly going to see your fullbacks attacking an awful lot more. That's very much a feature of his tactic. However, he quite liked his time in England, very much so. In fact, he's bought a house here, and he's now living in England. In fact, he's been living in England for the past 3 months, believe it or not, and he's been waiting around for a job over here. As I understand it, he, more than anyone else, he wants the West Ham job. He's waiting. He sort of knows he's not. He knows that he's not first choice, but I think he's waiting for all the horses to fall at the hurdles, and he might be the last nag standing, as it were. And I think he very much wants the job. He's got a really clear idea on what to do with the West Ham job. He's been watching the team. He's been watching the squad. He understands the squad's deficiencies. As I understand it, I don't know who in the board, but someone on the board has been very, very impressed with him. That could be anyone. Well, I say it could be anyone. It wouldn't be Kretinsky. Kretinsky's having very, very little to do with West Ham at the moment, as I understand it. He's nothing to do with any of this most recent stuff, although he was part of the reason why we appointed Tim Steidten. Steidten's still leading the dance on this, though, on us appointing a manager. So he's certainly working through his list of people to work through. If there's one thing that's very, very clear, this does not bode well for David Moyes at all. There's almost no chance of him staying on at West Ham. I don't think he wants to either. It does make me wonder why he's staying on in his position, just for him, for the club, for anyone else. I don't know. Maybe he still believes that he can get us European football. Maybe there's a loyalty bonus. I don't know. You'd think he's probably rich enough. You'd think probably that the club might do him a favour if he's pay up what he's owed. It's only whatever he's owed, he's going to get paid anyway. And maybe I don't know, maybe put Mark Noble in there from now until the end of the season or something like that. Just an idea. I've not heard that from anyone, by the way, at all, that last bit. But I don't think the club want to keep him. I don't think David Moyes wants to stay. And I'm very, very certain that he's not going to be staying. And that's why I was surprised to see the club. I understand they would want to play down the Amorim rumours, but I was surprised to hear them leaking yesterday and saying, well, no, we're going to sit down with David Moyes at the end of the season and then we'll decide what's best for the club. Because actually, as I say, it's quite the opposite from what I heard. That's not selling season tickets. That's having people cashing in their season ticket and not taking the opportunity to renew. But anyway, look, hey, what do I know about that? Nothing. I don't know anything about selling season tickets at all. What I do know is what I've thought, whatever, for a little while now, that I do think Fonseca is probably the most likely manager, and if not, it's Lopetegui, one of those two. I'm not a betting man. I really am not. But if you forced me to bet £10 of my own money, and as anyone that knows me will testify, I've never bet £10 of my own money. If you forced me to bet £10 of my own money, I wouldn't put a penny on it, on Amorim. I would. If you forced me to do it, I probably would put my money on Fonseca and Lopetegui afterwards. But there you go. So maybe we'll get linked. In fact, I think we will get linked with more managers beforehand, because Tim Steidten has got a couple more apparently that he needs to work through to see if West Ham are going to bring him in or not. But whether that happens, I don't know. Anyway, that's the news as of, sort of, as I say, about like 4:00 on Tuesday afternoon. I mean, it could change again. It really could all change again very, very quickly. Of course, we'll let you know. Probably not today. I'll probably talk about it a little bit more tomorrow. But yeah, it was interesting. It was very, very interesting to hear a lot of the be careful what you wish for merchants have their say on it. Maybe the tune is starting to change ever so slightly. Certainly, Jim White didn't really know what to say, really. It was quite hard for him to go on the offensive, I felt, and back David Moyes to keep the West Ham job. He had a go. He sort of failed at it. Anyway, I'll catch up with you tomorrow.